Hello, hello. Here we are again, coming to you from Broadcast Team Alpha on a whole bunch of different platforms out there. And my name is Augie, and I'm the host. And you know, Broadcast Team Alpha is that one show for the thinking global citizen. That word, thinking global citizen, think about that for a while. There's a few that doesn't qualify. They're probably not here, but those that are here, we're going to have some fun, and it'll be an educational experience, especially for me, because we're going to talk about some of the things that nobody that I know of others talk about. So, yeah, before I introduce the guest, I also want to let you know how you can get in touch with me. You can go to broadcastteamalpha.com and go into the contact feature, send me an email. I'll get the email and I'll get back to you, and we'll see what we can do for you. Be just a little patient. It could take a day or three because I get over 400 emails a day and I'm trying to catch up. So it is just a little bit slow sometimes. And if you are watching on YouTube right now, that's the place to be, because it's the only place we can monitor the chat room. Any of the other platforms, they don't give us chat rooms or numbers or anything. You know, radio stations don't, TV doesn't, and many other don't. So here we are. But if you are watching on YouTube, please subscribe. That'll help us a lot. And also, the super chat is open if you feel like you want to help us that way. That would be wonderful. And then I'm going to introduce the guest. She is actually returning to Broadcast Team Alpha. We've done, I think, a couple of shows before, dating back, one of them even 7, 10 years, back in the dark ages. And this is Tiffany Keefer. We have known each other a long time.
Yes, we have.
And yeah, absolutely. Now, just a few words about her. She is a bioengineer. She's woken up to the fact that there is more to bioengineering. There is maybe a way where you have the clean petri dish and everything that it goes in there, but when you add the mind to it, when the mind is working on what you're doing, things change. And she found a way to do that. She's tapping into the source of all things. And she found the source of, we can get the information how we can control our genetics and maybe also design it so that we can have full potential of what we do. We are towards the end of the show, we're also going to talk about what's really behind the curtain. Who or what is in charge? Who has designed this so-called life we think we are living? And some of this information, as far as I know, nobody is talking about it. But when it comes from the source of all things, I am giving it a little stock so that I want to really hear what she has come up with lately. So welcome to the show, Tiffany.
Thank you, Augie. It's a pleasure to be here. Yeah, it's been a while. We definitely we've been journeying. I would say I've been kind of keeping an eye on what you've been doing, and I know you've been watching what I'm going on doing also. So I'm really excited for this.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. And when we talked before we started recording here, and there is so much to talk about. But I would like to make sure that what some of the stuff it's okay to talk about all this skullduggery behind the curtain, but I also like us to talk about things that makes people's life better.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So how would you suggest maybe we would start doing that? Maybe talking about the mind and how we in our mind can make our life better. I don't know any other way to ask that question.
Okay, so I can kind of feel what you're asking. So it's really important for us to really stay present because right now we have a lot of things going on of deception. We have a lot of things going on as far as like them entering our thoughts and uh, they meaning machine or satellites or different devices and technology that they're using on us right now, frequencies, vibrations, all those kind of things. So, one of the ways that I myself was given a way to stay present is the breath of life. And what that is it's, well, we can do it if you want. I'll just show you how it's done. Um, but it's breathing in and filling up your whole entire chest and then holding it for 3 seconds and then exhaling it from your nose into your heart. Everything's through the nose. And the reason for that is because we're bringing oxygen into our body, where most of us have been like probably there's over uh, a large population that breathes through their mouth and not their nose. And so that is one way that we can come back to a present state of mind and allow us to go ahead and stay in that. The breath of life, what it does is it brings oxygen throughout the whole entire body. When you're breathing in pure oxygen. It's going to your brain, and from your brain, as a bioengineer, it allows every single one of your cardial network to send signals through the body that are right, that are real, that are not intrusive, that are from direct source. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it
And the question that brings, like I said, that each show kind of take off a life of its own, and the source of all things.
yes.
What is that?
To me, the source of all things is God. It's not religion. The way I'm speaking about this, it's good originates deeply in every pure heart. And all of us that have been out there and we've been seeking the truth and we've been, striving for this unity of one and we've been looking for this love all over the place. It's right in us. It's in a lot of it's in a lot of the scriptures according to God, because that was our map. They just tried to distort it and make it deceptive, right? And also, they tried to make people who, went to church, they made it as God as a punisher. Well, like I said, when you come from a place of God being the good that originates deeply in you, you come from a pure space. You don't come from a wall. You don't come from a pit or a pew or like an altar that they have in a lot of the churches. It's you're coming right straight from the pure source within. I found on this journey myself that everything outside was a deception and everything within was my truth.
Yeah, when we speak of God, I remember probably 25 years ago that the UN did a survey. They went around the globe and they were looking into all and everything that people believed in and worship, and they found that there is, I think it was close to 3,000 gods on earth.
Those are
And
pagan gods.
yeah, so what is we have lesser God, and Caesar even declared himself to be a god. And
Well, they
then,
all think they're gods.
yeah, that
Even in
unannounced,
modern time, they think they're gods. They think that that they have control over us. They think that they can put us in slavery. They think they can monitor our every move. And I've learned how to biohack that, like to come into a place where you live in the world, but you're not of the world.
there you go.
And it is the best place you can ever be because you're free. You're
Yeah,
free, even though you're living in a world that like monitors everything you do, like you and I right now, and everything else. You're in a place that is so protected and so purified that they can't do anything with it. You become unshakable,
yeah,
like it's
yeah. When your mind is free,
everything's free.
yeah, everything is free. Even though you have to have a, well, you don't have to, but it's probably better to have a driver's license. It is a form of tie down,
Right.
but those things doesn't matter anymore.
No, no.
It's
And
just,
so I think we're coming to a place now, more people are awakening to this. They're awakening to their deception. They're awakening to the traps. They're awakening to, a lot of the people that are probably listening to this and probably, are really seeking within. I say,
yeah,
they're coming to God, like they're coming to the good that originates deeply in them. It's the love seed, it's the seed of life, right, within us.
yeah,
And I think that more and more people are coming and awakening every single day to that. And they've been through New Age, they've been through the Egyptian pyramids, they've been through, there's not nothing that they haven't like turned around and gone through. And a lot of, like we've learned so much, right? We've in the tree of knowledge, you learn it, right? Like you get the knowledge of it. But to receive the wisdom, you got to overcome it, right? You got to overcome everything that they tried to put in your way of an obstacle so you didn't reach your full potential. So
yeah,
I think that right now, more and more people are awakening to this. And it's right. This is the biggest time I think I'm in celebration mode, I'm in victory mode.
yeah, absolutely. Now you are able to tap into this source of all things. What do you suggest other people can do to be able to practice or be able to reach this source? How would they go about start doing that?
Well, this is the big one because it's the breath of life. It all starts with life, right?
Yeah,
And so the breath of life, like I said, it changes your whole entire neurological system and your nervous system. It calms it. It brings, so I can tell you in the bio sense of it, and I can also tell you in the spiritual sense of it. And so in the bio sense of it, it brings you to a place where your nervous system's calm. You don't have anxiety. You don't have all these different fear energies going around. You don't have depression. You don't have any of this. You come out of all that and you come to a place where, because you're getting the oxygen, you're getting the right signals going to your body is now in a place of knowing, like it's naturally in us, right? So we have this compass in us, we have this transmitter in us that is natural. It's God's, his creation of this. They have theirs, right, which is their devices and everything else. But we really truly do have natural transmitters. We bring in information and it transmits through us. And a lot of times it resonates with us, right?
yeah,
So that resonation is part of, that's your soul scroll.
mm,
If it resonates in your heart, then that's part of your soul scroll. And so they've come up with a lot of different ways to biohack that. And I want to get deeper into that, but not right now. I want to give it the spiritual part of it. So the spiritual part of it is a lot of us, we're searching, and searching and searching, right? And we want to know what is the source of all. Okay. So on the spiritual part of this, with the breath of life, God breathed into Adam's nostrils and gave him life. Okay. That was giving man the breath that, like, you're breathing out, you're becoming life, right?
Yeah.
And when we are birthed, right, what's the first thing that happens with a child? They breathe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they have made it to where most people learn to breathe out of the mouth, like they smack the baby's butt. When they smack the baby's butt, that's a trauma mechanism going to the mind, right? And it opens the mouth instead of the nose. In the womb, the child breathes in the womb through the nose. Like, we're meant to be able to breathe underwater. We're meant to do all those things. That's a natural part of us. That's why water birth is really popular and good for the child, because it's something that's natural. It's not, it's not this, you're in a hospital room and you got 1,000 people, 100 people in there going in and out and doing all kinds of stuff to you. So the breath of life is really important because it brings you right back to where you began, right from the beginning, right? You come out of the womb, you're breathing. So you're in the womb, you're breathing. So this is the breath, and it's so important that you start your day in it, because you start your day above their energy, above their frequency, above their vibration. So that's one of the biggest ones.
Yeah, and you also talked to me earlier about how important it is to keep the glands in the brain clean and how maybe we could clean them if they aren't.
So the breath of life is also going to start purifying your pineal gland, right? They calcified the pineal gland, and they did it because it's, a lot of people believe that the pineal gland is like the seat, okay, which it is, but it has to work in a system of the whole entire body. So without it working with the thymus gland, right, which is actually a part that goes over our heart, it's a chest plate, I would call it, if we're going into spiritual scripture, it's the chest plate over your heart. It's also a place where, when we're young, it's lit up. It's lit up. It's our imagination. It's our just flow in life. It's our, our excitement, our joy. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then as we get older, we get all this junk that gets put on us, right? And so what happens is that thymus gland, it starts like getting fat built around it. And we're no longer living in thy will. We're now living in this free will. And free will is what they kind of can control. They can control your free will. When you're living in thy will, you're lighting that back up. It's a connection that goes from here to here, which is like from your heart to your brain, right? And you know how they say that we have we have a brain in the heart, right?
Yeah.
That is the thymus gland. That is the actual thymus gland. It's the one that directs the energy out. It brings forth a purity in all directions when you're in that. And that's probably the biggest thing. And it really has to do with how you allow thoughts through, right? So thoughts are, and they can either be disembodied spirits, right? That's going to be thoughts of like death, depression, anxiety, fear, all those kind of things. And they come from the ethers, the ethernet. Okay. So it's connected to a lower orbit consciousness, which was created by NASA. And it was created to keep us in a place that was going to keep us as slaves.
Yeah.
Our mind is slaves, our heart is slaves, our bodies as slaves, for them to loose off the energy, right? So we're breaking out of that. That's their matrix. We don't play the matrix no more. We're out of that. And this is one of the ways you can do it is by the breath. But also it's important that every day you say, not my will, but thy will be done. There was a reason for that to be one of the prayers that was said for so long, right? Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. That was because it was lighting up the space in your heart that they were trying to put out. So it also sends signals to the whole entire body. Okay, when you say thy will be done, it puts you in your purpose, your soul purpose, right off the bat. Like there's nothing, like it's you're on it. You're going on, like like the rocket ship. How many you said we were on it? We're on it. But this is our rocket ship. This is not, part of their control. And so it's where now you're navigating in such a flow that it's so natural. It just comes, it just goes, and you comings and goings. It's in it, So it's exciting, I think, to see that more and more people are going to be able to open up to this.
Yeah, it gets complicated when you step out of the box.
I step out of the box a lot.
Yeah, I know. I got one more question for you, and I really want to get to what's behind the curtain coming up next here. But I want to ask you, first I want to preface that by say Albert Einstein, he was in an interview and he made the comment in one of those interviews, he said, I have studied the universe more than most. And I have found that it all is made from the vibration of love.
Thank you. Thank you. So I have a different formula for the E equals MC square. I have it as energy, motion, price balance. So Christ balance to me is meaning that your heart is balanced, your mind is balanced, your emotions are balanced, your energy is balanced. You are centered in a place of, like I was just telling you, of your purpose and thy will, right? So you're in a place of where reality bends for you instead of you bending for reality, if that makes sense. So
yeah. And we also hear that God is love.
God is always love.
Yeah. And then if everything is made from love, let's say that we have a really bad thing happen.
Right.
People turn around and say, where's the love in that? We probably have to maybe turn the coin around and look on the other side. There's got to be something good in whatever bad happens to us. How do you suggest maybe people could start to look at the other side of that coin? I have had some really bad things happen, but I tell you, good things came
Came
from
out
it.
of it. I was going to say the same thing. Most of the time we go through something, it might have been something that we needed to go through so that nobody else has to go through it. We might not understand it. Like, our purpose is to help others. Our purpose is to help others evolve. Our purpose is to help others reach the full potential. Our purpose is unity and love, right? So when you go through something that might be traumatic, a lot of people sit there and they're like, well, why did I have to go through that? Well, you might have had to gone through that because 7 million won't have to. So it's not about you. And when I say, like, as we're going along our journeys and everything else, when people hit that time of, their darkest spot or whatever, the way I see the coin being flipped is seeing it from a different perspective. Like if you see it from the trauma, you're going to live the trauma.
Yeah.
You see it from the point of like, I'm going to go through this. I know I'm not alone. I know that this is something important that I need to go through, right? And I'm not saying trauma that is like abuse. I'm not saying trauma that is like, you know, you've gone through like some really evil stuff, because I believe people also were targeted.
Yeah.
I also believe that in this, you know, pure-hearted people, pure light was targeted through this whole entire deception. Like what I'm going to get into as far as what's behind the curtain, I think that this is going to kind of awaken what's going on
Yeah.
about that. But one of the ways that they can do it is, like I said, beliefs are so big, right? Whatever you believe, you're going to receive. Okay. So let's say people read about, you know, the cosmic ascension, they start believing it. Mass per people, energy, right? Come
Yeah.
together and start believing in this. It manifests, it happens. Okay. Same thing with religion. You know, you got the apocalypse, more and more people putting their energy into this and fear into this, and they're starting to cultivate it, right? We can cultivate good things or we can cultivate bad things, right? But it all has to do with our belief system. And where does that belief system start? Do you start like, are you at source when you start with this belief system? No, this is something that we learn through our life, right? And so our beliefs can definitely have an effect on how our reality of our life will turn out. And I think that if we turn it in a different perspective, like take mass, like this call that we're doing right now, this podcast we're doing right now, if every person on this podcast was to collectively come together and say no more war, no more slavery, no more deception, no more wicked, no more evil, if we all collectively had those thoughts, right, and seen it wiped out, it would be gone. It would be gone. We
Yeah.
wouldn't even have to deal with not one part of that, right? So
Yeah.
that's what we have to do. We have to change the perception of what we are seeing things at,
Hmm.
right? And like I said, thoughts are either from disembodied spirits from their ethernet, okay, or you're connected and you're listening to God, you're listening to the Holy Spirit, you're listening to divine guidance, you're tapped into a purity, right? There's people that don't know God and are tapped in, okay. So
Yeah.
it has nothing to do with religion. It has to do with your heart. It has to do with your who you are, right? And who you are with the relationship with good in God.
Yeah. Yeah. I have another way too that I've been saying for quite a while, that whatever you allow to dwell in your mind the most, that is what you will have in your life.
Whatever you focus on, you're right.
Yeah. So
100%.
that, boy, that is dangerous. Hey guys,
It can be.
we gotta watch our thoughts a little bit.
No, you know, and there is a scripture that says capture your thoughts and make them obedient to Christ. And what that means is you're capturing these thoughts before they manifest or come into you. So I got a thing that I want to kind of put out there is like, you know how when you start like feeling down, right? That thought comes in, you start feeling it, your emotions start, right? So they need motion. They
Yeah.
need energy in motion, right? So emotions is energy in motion. So here you are, you're starting to feel this energy, you're low, it's making you feel lower in vibration, it's making you feel, you know, like you're starting to take on some stuff. And what happens is then they either allow it to come in, right? That like they're saying, "Hey, come on in. You want to come in? This place is vacant. Let's, you know, you can hang out here, right?" And then 10 more of those disembodied spirits are going to be coming to you too, and they're going to be bringing you down the spiral of emotion, right? And then that is how they use energy to loose. This is how they use energy to also manifest. And it's very, very important for us to learn this. Like, how we can spiral down by just one thought, right? So capturing that thought, bringing it to your heart center. It's got like, if this thought doesn't resonate with you, it's not your truth. It's not safe. It's not sane. It's not secure thought. You got to cast that sucker out. You got to say, no, guess what? This right here, this is, there's no vacancy here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And would you say a couple of words about meditation? Because a lot of times for many people,
Oh, I got to.
higher consciousness comes through meditation.
Okay, so I want to say this about the pineal gland because this has got a lot to do with it. Third eye, pineal gland, all of that, right? So a lot of people, yes, being still is different from meditation.
Yeah.
Meditation, okay? They're able to put whatever kind of projection, holograph or anything into your mind if your third eye is open. Okay? So they used this is where they've gotten so much energy from. The chakra system, chakra, is connected to the Ra God. That's what it's connected to. It's also connected into the Indian pagan gods, all the different pagan gods, okay, is what this is part of. And what it does is it shocks you. Like people that get it mixed up in this and they start worshiping this deities and pagan gods and cultism and all that stuff, their bodies take a hit. Health-wise, their bodies take a hit. Right? Mind-wise, their bodies take a hit. Their spirit takes a hit when they get involved in that, right? So the third eye in meditation, I would say this, if anybody is in all that, I would say it's best to come from a place of being still, in nature, eyes open, connecting, doing the breath, bringing yourself to like a very pure center, right, within, and then allowing God to allow his eyes to be the eyes you see through. Right? Because when we allowed, I went down this journey too, right? We allowed them into our minds through meditation, through the pineal gland, right? So like I said, the pineal gland is the driver's seat. So let's say you worship or you're into occultism and you're in New Age and you're, Wicca, all these different things. Whatever deity you serve owns your mind by the pineal gland. If your pineal gland is connected to the thymus gland, then you're in perfect like symmetry with what your body code is. You know what I'm saying? But if you're worshiping another god, then that other god is the one, or goddess, that is who's ruling your mind, ruling your actions, ruling your life, ruling your thoughts, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I know it sounds really crazy and sci-fi, but that's the way it works. And what they've been doing is they've been putting projections. So they'll make you where you believe you're a goddess, you're a god, you're a Lemurian princess, you were whatever, right? Whatever's going to make you to where you're going to be so tied up in this, right?
Sure.
You're a seed. You were here 20 years ago or 2 million years ago, and whatever it is, the story, right? They're going to implant that, embed it in you by satellite consciousness, by the satellites, lower orbit. They can holographically put any kind of image in your mind, any image. And it has to do with what you're like, your own vision, right? So like if somebody hears that they're, I'm a Lemurian princess, or I'm a Egyptian god, right? It goes to their head. That is ego. Yeah. That's edging God out. It goes to their head. They think they're better. They think they know more. They think that they can tell everybody everything, right? instead of collectively bringing it to the table and saying, you know what, this is what happened to me, and I went through this, and I'm not sure if this is the right path, because that's what they need to do. They need to discern if that's the right path, right? And they can't discern it if their mind is already trapped in their pyramid or their new age or any of that stuff, because they're so detached from what's real. The 5D, the 6D. I'm telling you, and I tell you, this is all part of us, though. Okay? So when we allow those kind of creations to come in, it messes up our body code and gives them the right to hack it.
Now, it sounds like we're starting to open up the curtain a little bit. And I
Just
tell
a
you,
little bit.
we are at the bottom of the hour right now. So for those of you that joined us late, we are talking with Tiffany Keefer, and we're way, way outside of the box. So we've been talking about the mind and what we can do with it. But also next, I think we're going to talk about who and what may be controlling our mind and what is going on behind the curtain. There is technologies now that you have no clue is existing, and somebody on the other side of that curtain is using it against you. No, no, no. You.
Yeah, there
Absolutely
you go.
you.
Not me.
Yeah, but I'm pointing at people on the couch out there.
I know. I'm just
And they don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a simple thing. I'm a hypnotist, and I hear people tell me from time to time that I can't be hypnotized. And I ask them, have you ever watched TV? And they say, well, yeah. I said, well, in that case, you have been hypnotized. There is
Yeah.
something to that. But let's talk about the rest of the story of what's on the other side of the curtain, and I have no
All
idea
right.
how to
You
start
sure?
that out.
You sure about this?
Yeah.
All right. So, where do you want to start? Like, what you want to know about quantum entanglement? Do you want to know about?
That could lead into everything.
Okay, so starting with quantum entanglement, a lot of us got trapped up in this one. So that's all part of the twin flame. That's all part of a mechanism that they brought in to actually hijack the energy of unity or union, right? Man and woman union. They brought it in through quantum physics, right? Let me tell you something. God's way outside the box of quantum physics. Okay, there's not an energy that they can actually contain that deciphers God. Okay, because that's in everything and anything. Energy is everything, right? So with quantum entanglement, and many of us experienced it, what happened was it was a psyop, pretty much. It was a psyop to allow them to come in, meaning the alien technology. They used alien technology to come into your space, your mind, your heart, right? And because of us having that love in us and wanting that love from someone else, right? A lot of us got entangled in it. The entanglement meant is spiritually, yes, you could hear from them, right? And that was real. The entanglement part of it was whatever you were searching for yourself, like if you didn't have it built inside you, right? And you were looking outside yourself for it, then they would give you the inverted version of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So an empty version of what you're looking for is what you found. You found a soulless, or like a empty container when you were looking for whatever you were looking for. It drained a lot of people mentally, emotionally, spiritually, sexually, financially, because what was happening was it was almost as if whatever you had and you were I know myself, you're giving it to others, right? You were willingly giving it, right? Which left
Yeah.
you empty, or
Yeah.
left the person empty, right? That ended up experiencing it. And it brought us all into a place that was a lower frequency that they could actually hack us with, right? Because we were all on high. I mean, 10 years ago, we were pumping love, right? Remember?
Mhm.
We were pumping love. There was nothing but love and joy pumping.
Yep.
And then they just like smushed us, right? So it was all a part of their Christ consciousness that is hooked up to NASA, right? It's the biggest deception that's going on right now that is out there at all, because it's in the churches, it's in political, it's in everything that you can think of, tech, education. They've got it in everything, right?
Yeah.
And it's an actual project that NASA had put on years ago. They said they closed it, but they didn't. It's all part of the. Am I allowed to say anything about that stab thing? The Armageddon it? Armageddon it? Am I allowed to say about that?
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So when they gave the shot out, that was part of the project. It was part of mRNA, right? A false messenger. It's connected to their satellites. It's connected to lower Earth orbit. And you can look, and this is all stuff that if somebody really wants to research, they can, because it's all out there, right? There's gonna be some things I'm gonna give that are not available. But they will be available.
Yeah.
But there is some other things that is very available, as far as researching it and everything else. So the shot itself was to see how many people that they can actually control, but it goes deeper than that. They've got patents on these shots. It's part of the Armageddon. But what it is it's a psychological op, right? Those people who have had the shot. Now, don't get me wrong, because God's already sealed his people. His people are sealed, even if they got the shot. Some will be a testimony of healing from what happened. There'll be others that will be like testimony for justice, like people that have been harmed during this. They're
Yeah.
going to be, it's going to be, their testimony is going to bring justice, right, for others. So there's going to be a lot of things that are going to be opening up really, really soon. And actually, I think some of it's taking place right now too. Some of the trials and tribulations of this stuff is taking place. And so what they did was they wanted to put a false message in you, right? So like, it goes back to the religion though, because most of us who went to church, who knows Revelations or read Revelations, Theosians, all of this, they know that Revelations has to do with like the end times, destruction, all this stuff, right?
Mhm.
But that is the false message. That is the false message from the very beginning of this. This is the biggest deception. Those who are triggered into that, like believing in that, right? They're bringing energy to manifest these wars. They're bringing energy to manifest these destructions and catalysms and everything else that we're witnessing. And it's all being conducted by a device. HARP, you know about HARP, right? There's also seeding, right? But it goes beyond the seeding. Like they can pretty much from the satellites, right? I call them hostile satellites because they can use from the satellites, they can pinpoint one area and bring catastrophic stuff to happen to it, just so
Yes.
that they can use the land for their operations, right? They did the fires, right? So in biblical, they talk about how the earth will be burned up in flames, right? So with that, they were like, they are on a script of creating revelations. They are on that script, okay? And that script that they're using is got a lot of people caught up in it, okay? Because they've heard it so long, right? You hear something for a very, very long time. What happens? It becomes what?
Yeah.
Part of you, right? Part of that scroll, part of that imprint, part of whatever, right? It comes, you know it, right? And so when it comes to that, it's like the churches preached it. They didn't preach, like that we're supposed to be going to the promised land and it's milk and honey, and they didn't preach the good about God. They preached all the bad about the destruction of God, all of this. It was all bad stuff, right? That you hear about Revelations, and then they've used the devices. Not only that, but they've used alien technology. Everybody on this channel, you guys are probably very aware that the draconians and the reptilians are pretty much running the stage, right? Right now. And what that is that's connected, and I'm going to just be blunt about it, it's connected to Pelon. Pelon's the dragon. He's the one who was cast out of the heavens, right? He can't get through this firmament. He's tried, I don't even know how many times with his rockets and his phalluses and everything else he's put out there, right? He still can't get through the firmament. None of them can get through the firmament. It's impossible, right? And not only that, but then you got Dump. Well, I call him Dump, and I call the other one Pelon because I don't give him a name or I give him any energy. But Dump would be the snake. He's the one who wiggled his way into everything and wiggled his way into the churches. And, he even gave a poem about it. And people were just like,
yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah.
Sitting there, I'm like, well, are you guys like nothing? You can't you don't understand this? What's going on? Right? So he's a snake, and he has fooled a lot of people. But guess what? The veil is thin, like real thin. And not only that, but there's no more scales over our eyes. We're seeing this. We're seeing what's going on. We can see him shape shifting. We can see them losing like control. We can see them like freaking out right now, right? Like they're devastated right now. They're hunkering down, trying to get their bunkers and everything else built. They're trying to get their satellites stuff going on. They're trying to get their AI modules and their databases going. Well, guess what? All that takes time to do, right? All of it takes time. Everything can happen in one twinkle of an eye, right? We're more powerful than they are, but we have to come together as a collective and just be like, you know what? No more, no more, right? We have to do that.
I'm drawing a conclusion from all of what you're saying, and that is that everything is planned, and the information is placed into absolutely everything to guide us along that plan they want us to do, because everything is controlled. Now, that sounds pretty bad, and I have been called a conspiracy theorist about 474,000 times so far and counting.
Who cares?
The thing about it is that the government has told us that they're doing it. Remember, the head of the CIA under Ronald Reagan, he was in an interview, and right at the tail end of the interview, he said something, and that is that when we wake up one day and find that everything the American public believe is false, we know our disinformation program is working.
Yep.
That's on the record.
Yeah.
They told us.
They have to. So this is the whole thing too. There's nothing that they cannot hide, okay?
Yeah.
Because if they hide it, so with their gods, okay, or their their worship. Okay. Part of their worship is they believe that they're not going to receive karma, or they're not going to receive judgment if they let everybody know what's going on.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? The judge and the jury is not going to allow that. God is going to put them where they belong, right? And what happens though with that is those who accept it, they're the ones who are receiving the karma. Think about it. We're the ones who are going through the suffering and everything else, why these billionaires are set up wherever they're set up.
Yeah.
Okay. So we need to take back our power. We need to take back the power of purity. We need to take back the power of God. We need to take back the power of our Christ's heart, right? The light, the true light. We need to take it back. So we also have, and I mean, this is medical. We have a reptilian brain, right? You can be connected to that reptilian brain, which this goes back to the pineal gland. How do you think that snake got into the garden? This is your garden. Your mind is your garden, okay?
Yes.
And the thoughts you let in seed your garden. So if you're allowing these thoughts that are coming from their alien technology, AI, right? So most AI is hosted by the ethers. It is hosted by spirits that didn't go to heaven. They didn't find peace. Okay, so they're disembodied spirits. They're pillagers. They're murderers. They're rapists. They're pedophiles. They're all these sick perversions of spirit. Okay,
Yeah.
and they're trying to find a host. They need a host body to work in. And what you're seeing, what's happening around this world right now is people call them NPCs or whatever. They're not NPCs. They're actually pretty much a host spirit is gone in them, you know? And another thing I want to go into too, Augie, is, and it's really important, I think this is, kind of going to bring it to fruition for you also, is we have familiar spirits, right? Okay, like a frequency or a sound that has traumatically brought you into a place of trauma. Okay, that would be a familiar spirit. And what happens is that familiar spirit can come in other people, right? And what you're experiencing, this is in relationships, this is in friendships, this is in family and everything else. But what happens is it's familiar spirits, principality, and that spirit, right? So that spirit, it hops from one person to the next. Like, say you were in a relationship or something like that, and the guy cheated on you or the girl cheated on you, right? The next relationship, if you have not looked inside for yourself and you have not like brought yourself into a place in a foundation with God as your foundation, Christ is your foundation. And on this, like I said, this is nothing religious. This is just pure purity. Our fountain is pure within us. Our Christine, right? Our water that's within us. We're 80% water. So that water has to be purified. And so when we bring that to that purity, we manifest that to us.
Yeah.
Somebody pure to us, okay? But if not, if you're looking outside and you're still searching for that love, that next relationship is going to mirror this past relationship that you've had. Not only that, but that familiar spirit is going to come into that person. And you're going to deal with that all over again. And it could be your mom. It could be a familiar spirit can be like anyone who's brought any kind of traumatic experience into your life, right? And what happens is also through thought. Like if somebody's heard, from their family or their dad or mom or whatever, or anybody, right? Even just relationship wise, you're no good, you're worthless, you're this, you're that, right? So when they start thinking that or hear that thought come through, they accept it. They accept it because it's something that they've heard when they were a child, right? They were already pre-programmed to it. our mind is like, it keeps files. Okay.
Yeah.
Just like they want the data centers to keep files, right? Our mind is meant to keep files. And so when I kind of say, you know, you need to kind of defrag the files in your head, then
Yeah.
that's an important thing to do.
Yeah.
You know,
I know the spirits are out there, but I see we got 5 minutes left of the show, but there is one more thing that I want to add to it, and I want to see what you think. It is not only spirit. There are dark side of government even. They have technologies that is called voice to skull technology. They can beam a microwave to you, and they modulate in on the waves of the
mitochondria.
yeah, they are modulating voice on it. So you hear voices in your head, and people that is a little unstable, they can say, oh, it's God talking to me to go
Yeah.
kill that guy over there, you know. And this is used all the time.
So I'm going to out it. Pelon, he has a voice to skull technology patent. He also has a telepathic patent.
Yeah.
And this is what you're hearing. This is coming in from satellites. This is coming in from lower consciousness. This is coming in from lower orbit. You can look up lower orbit, okay? When you look up lower orbit, they've created their own constellation. They've created like everything to go towards astrology, right? Which astrology and all that stuff, when you get mixed into it, it mixes you into that creation. Okay. Your reality becomes what you're playing in, right? I mean, to
Yeah.
me, this whole world is like a game, right?
Yeah.
Except for I'm playing with the two-edged sword, armor of God. I'm like, come on, let's go, right? And all of us can do that. We can either see it as a place where, you know, it's just a downfall and you're never, you know, it's never going to be any better or anything like that. But when we flip our perspective and we see it through the eyes of God, we only see the good. We expose the bad.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And there's many of us. We are many, 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 many that are together that are exposing all of this stuff.
Yeah.
So it's happening.
Yes, it
So
is.
the biggest thing I would say right now that people need to be very careful of is they're playing in theta. And they do. They have I call the machine a dream catcher because what it does is it plays in your dream world. And not only that does it play in your dream world, but because that's where your most like your subconscious is at play. So this is very important for people to understand, right? We have God consciousness, and then they created a subconscious. Okay, sub. What is a sub? It's an added consciousness, right?
Yeah.
So that's what they created. That's what they're tapping into. So if you have fears or you have anything like that, it's playing out in your dream world.
That would make sense.
You wake up in the morning, what do you think your mind's on? What happened in your dream? Because they make it so much reality because it's a holographic image, right? That you're receiving. And they have witches right now. They have warlocks right now that are playing in that field. Like they're the ones who are maneuvering that energy right now. And these are paid by the government. Okay.
Yeah,
They're paid by I do remote viewing. And they do, and my remote viewing though is intelligence. It's to expose them. It's to bring everything back to the right energy.
Yeah, there's a CIA whistleblower that came out and he said they are absolutely doing what you just said.
100%.
Yeah. And gosh, this has been fun and interesting. How do people get a hold of you if they want to talk about something?
Oh gosh. Well, you guys can look me up on any of the platforms under Tiffany Keefer. I'm not going to hide myself out. And if you guys want to get a hold of me, Augie, you got my number. I don't have a problem with that. If somebody get a hold of me and wants to talk about this or has their opinions in it, and also questions. Or I think you said something about too, maybe doing a YouTube to where we can answer the questions that people might have.
Yeah.
I think I'd be okay with that, and I would honor that. And
Okay.
also, I have a podcast out, and I'm kind of in the place of right now of expanding it. It's Seven Senses podcast, and I talk about this. I talk about the thymus gland. I talk about the Jezebel spirit. I talk about the narcissistic spirit. I talk about how to get yourself out of that if you're in a relationship with it. I talk about a lot of things that are, important right now, where we're at, and how we're going. During my podcast on the thymus gland one is a huge one that I did on Seven Senses. And it really talks about I just kind of gave you like a brief of what it was. I really went in depth with it, and it deleted it twice trying to
Oh,
to put it on. And then when it did put it on, my voice is so low that you can pretty much barely hear me, unless you turn it all the way up, and then you can hear the co-host pretty, well. So I'm in the process of kind of trying to get all that on its way. I've been
uh-huh.
very busy. I just got back from a trip in Knoxville where it was like clearing energy and stuff like that. You know how I kind of do that kind
Yeah.
of stuff, right,
Yeah.
Augie? So that was
Well,
very interesting, and have to be a whole nother podcast because
yeah.
that one's wild, and I got pictures too to show you. So
There's
yeah,
always time for that. So,
yes.
yeah. So then, anything else you want to promote?
Um, the breath of life,
Yeah. Say that name of the podcast again that you have.
seven senses.
Seven Senses. Okay.
It's on pretty much all the platforms and everything else. I've
Yeah.
only done like five right now, and because I've been very busy, and I'm trying to, I'm trying to navigate all this at one time.
All right. Well, thank you very much for being with us. And
Thank you, Augie, for having me.
yeah, this has been fun. And for those of you out there watching, please subscribe if you like what you heard. And then until next time, be good to each other.